Good day, everybody. This is Ratish Pandey from Action Coach, and I have with me Prashant Gupta.
Hi.
Hi Prashant, welcome to Business Spotlight
Hi,
series.
Ratish.
Prashant is a insurance man, and I will let him talk a little bit about himself, what he does, and from there we'll take it on.
My name is Prashant Gupta. I started my career with a state pair United India in the year 93. Worked for them for close to 8 years. 2000 was the time when, after Malhotra Committee report, sector was opening up for the private operators. I spent my next 8 years with two of the private insurers. 2 years with Royal Sundaram, 6 years with ICC Lombard. And 2008, we started a broking outfit called Zoom Insurance Brokers. It's been close to 16 years. I am also a company secretary by with a qualification. And in these 16 years, we have done reasonable enough. And we have geographically, present out of 5 cities, and has a team strength of now closer to 175 plus. And we are serving 850 plus to the corporate customers, mostly in large and medium segments, and have have been serving lives which are in excess of 5 million on year basis.
Great, phenomenal. I'm sure the professional qualification that you mentioned, company secretary, would definitely help you in the compliance
Yeah,
side.
absolutely, absolutely,
Insurance is all about compliance.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Prashant, before this interview, we were talking, and you mentioned that the insurance sector has been growing in India, and more specifically, Zoom. So, what do you attribute the growth of Zoom to? What do you attribute that to?
See, I think there are two things which I would like uh, our growth is coming from. One is the talent which we have with us, and second is the value which we are delivering to our customers. So, in a very crisp and short way, I would attribute our our growth to these two factors. One is the excellent talent which we have, and second is our value deliverance to our customers.
Great, and I think I'll pick on the word talent because you know every entrepreneur globally in India, anywhere you may think of, certainly feels the shortage of talent. You obviously have bodies in your office, but it's the talented people that sort of make or break the organization. So,
Correct.
so tell me a little bit about, and that's an interesting question. How do you pick these talented people? How do you get them to join?
See, lately I have realized the only thing what I am actually looking at now while interacting with the prospective talent is their intent to deliver the utility for which they are actually getting hired. That's one core thing I am interested in. If they have that intent, uh, I would like to pick the guy.
And talk to me a little bit about intent. Is it just intent, or do you also look at the experience, the skill set that the
So,
person is
of course,
bringing?
of course, the skill set, experience, the qualifications, all those are definitely there. But one final thing which will help me in actually taking a decision is all about their intent to deliver the value for which they are getting hired.
So really, the attitude of the person,
Absolutely,
yeah, great
absolutely.
point, great point. Okay, uh,
Though normally, people say that both, organizations are also responsible responsible to communicate very clearly with their people
Yeah,
that what are expected out of them. So that part is something which we do very nicely. But we also, look into while hiring the people, their their attitude and their intent to deliver the utility for which they are being hired.
that's correct. That's correct. So, you just mentioned that you have and you have built an organization, 5 cities, 175 employees. So, what has been your greatest learning as an employer? What should other entrepreneurs, what can they learn from your experience of building this team?
See, if I look back and see one thing which I maybe could have done better
Yeah.
is something to start with maybe a stronger team. While I started, I was a lone ranger and we built the team brick by brick. But if I go back and see what I could have done maybe better is maybe to stay a little bit more, aggressive on hiring the talent, frankly,
Hmm.
and to start with a stronger team, frankly, rather than a lone ranger.
Okay. And that sort of takes me back to, I think, you mentioned career with insurance companies, and then 2006 is when you started this business.
2008.
2008. So 15 years now, slightly more than 15 years.
Correct.
So if I take you back to 2008, and you just did mention about the fact that you would have loved to start off with a stronger team, what other things you could have done 15, 16 years back that you would want to do differently than what your journey has been?
I think others come and give me the feedback, and I am a very open guy. Even my peers, my superiors, my juniors, so, keep actually giving me the feedback. They still say that you need to build a stronger team. You need to add more right kind of people. So the story, remains same. The kind of business in which we are in, the two most important people in our life is our team member and our customers.
Hmm.
So both are very important. So one thing is that you need to have the right colleague working with you,
Yeah,
and second is of course with the customers you need to take their feedback in a very very right spirit. you know Barring exceptions, I would say my experience is that the customers are always right.
brilliant, brilliant.
So
That's
if you work on these two things, I believe you will never go wrong.
Yeah. So really focusing on the customers, focusing externally and internally, focusing on your team members. Really,
Correct.
I think, and you know what you just mentioned about the customers being always right. A lot of times we hear management gurus talk about all this stuff. Customers right, customers right. But here is an entrepreneur like you who's sort of really saying it's not just about standing up on stage and sort of talking about it, but really living and breathing it. So thank you for that. Uh,
Thank
Okay.
you.
You run a large organization. I'm sure travel also would be killing some of your time. So, how do you balance your personal life, demands of running this business and balancing everything, work-life balance?
See, I normally try to stay ahead of my work, and that gives me a lot of bandwidth, or say legroom to do a lot of things which I like to do personally.
Hmm.
So that's in nutshell. I normally try to stay ahead of my.
So, tell me one trick or two how to stay ahead of your work. I would love to hear that.
Uh, I would not. It's like it's like occupational hazard also. You when you eat, sleep, drink, breathe your work.
Yeah,
It actually becomes occupational with a hazard, and you automatically tend to stay, ahead of the work.
yeah.
So it comes very naturally to me, frankly.
Hmm. Great.
If you will really ask me how do I do that, I will have to really think very deeply to, find out what is that reason.
Yeah,
But all I can say, it comes very naturally. And if you are organizing yourself well for next maybe 2 3 days, staying ahead of the work means you are organizing yourself well for
yeah.
next 2 3 days. So you get maybe good amount of bandwidth for your personal affairs as well.
Great. So I was just thinking about the question that you mentioned about the customer is always right. Now, the customer being always right leads to an entrepreneur where you're challenged with profitability and cost, and meeting customers needs. So how do you balance that? Because that's a popular misconception that people may have, that if I keep agreeing to customer demands, my profitability may go down, I may incur more costs and things like that. So love to hear your thoughts there on this one, Prashant.
See, luckily this we have stayed profitable throughout last 15 years of our journey.
Mm.
And what normal misconception people keep, I think some people say that valuations are important, some people say balance sheet is more important.
Yeah,
So what we believe here is that both are important actually. Valuations are equally important, and so is the balance sheet.
yeah,
So you need to build a profitable say balance sheet, and valuations are always a byproduct to that.
correct.
And to build a say profitable balance sheet, I think you need to check on it's a revenue versus expense game, sir.
Hmm.
And you got to uh, actually do justice with that.
Okay. So I have one last question before I wrap up
Please.
the brilliant interview, because I learned a lot, great insights. So, and the question is really about, um, we talked about employees and we talked about the fact that you found talented people. Now, talented people probably at times, you need a great manager to manage and keep that talent. So, what have been your tricks of management, especially on the people side and on the business side?
Thankfully, Ratish, our core team has stayed with us since actually beginning,
Wow.
and we have been, adding a lot of, important and industry uh, experts throughout now. And what we normally, imbibe as a culture that we keep our, environment very free. Like there are not so much of, hierarchies. Like we do not have any leave quotas. It's all need based, right?
Wow.
And we, empowered people uh, 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 to, design their own, KRA, and work, towards, achieving those. Our people, decide how they would like to spend their uh, days, months, quarters, and years. So it's like we always try to empower people uh, in building